Hello and welcome to the lecture for technical communications. And today we're going to be emphasizing in how to create a proposal. Today our objectives will be to be able to explain the two major goals of a proposal, list each element comprised in a proposal, name and describe the considerations that the writer should remember when writing a proposal, describe both the reader and the writer's perspective in reading or presenting a proposal. Describe the process and technical aspects of creating a persuasive proposal. A proposal is defined as a document where the writer identifies the reader's problem and offers a solution in writing describing when, how, and why the specific writer's solution will fulfill that need. There are two main purposes of proposals. First, proposals are meant to persuade the reader. If the writer doesn't create a compelling proposal, then the writer will most likely lose the sale and the money. Second, proposals serve as a protection from contractual liability. The way that this is done is by only making contractual commitments that the writer can completely fulfill, creating specific terms to avoid being vague, and setting expectations with the reader so that every party is on the same page. There's a general format by which a proposal is organized. First, there needs to be an executive summary. It is important to get straight to the point and be brief, as it is only an introduction to the specific subject matter. Next, the problem needs to be identified. There are a few different scenarios in which the problem can be identified. The reader completely defines the problem, gives a general overview of the problem, or the writer needs to completely define the problem by his or her own efforts. After identifying the problem, the objectives need to be set forth in order to make the reader understand what the writer hopes to accomplish. This acts as the bridge between the problem and the solution. This section can be considered as the goal-setting element of the proposal. With an identified need and a clear goal to solve the problem, the solution is the next part of the proposal. The solution has two requirements. First, it needs to address each of the objectives set forth. However, in today's competitive business world, it is not enough to simply meet expectations. Business professionals need to exceed expectations in order to surpass competitors and please customers. This is the essence of the second requirement, a solution that offers an extraordinarily desirable way to achieve the objectives. The reader will definitely want to know how this solution will be implemented. This is where the method section comes in. This portion is meant to describe the plan of action and how it will fulfill the commitments promised by the writer to the reader. One aspect of having a plan is also determining how the required resources will be supplied or obtained, which is why proposals includes a resources section. This is evidence to the reader that proves that the writer has all the means necessary to fulfill the reader's expectations. Another important element of competitive business is timeliness. This is exactly why the schedule part of the proposal is so important. In most business affairs, time is of the essence. Another difficult section to effectively complete is the qualification section, which is where the writer attempts to persuade the reader why exactly he or she is the right individual or company for the job. This is one of the most important sections to be persuasive because it is how the writer differentiates from competitors after qualifying the reader as a prospect. Perhaps in all proposals, the writer will not be the only individual involved in the business project of the proposal. There will definitely be a management team in place to oversee the progress and completion of the objectives. This is contained in the management section. This extends the scope between the writer, the coworkers, and the management. By including this information, the reader will have a clear understanding of who has which roles in this project. Lastly, the cost section obviously determines the financial cost the reader will have to incur if he or she accepts this proposal. It is important to be brief, but still provide a cost breakdown so the reader knows all the hidden costs of a project. It is vital to set a competitive price that will hook the reader while still retaining residual profit for the writer's company. There are a few considerations that need to be brought to light with proposals. First, the writer needs to understand that every reader's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? Ultimately, every individual looks out for themselves and only makes decisions based on how it helps their own lives. This is exactly why the solution needs to be focused on how it will benefit the reader. In regard to the cost section, one way to be competitive is to utilize the principle of opportunity cost by emphasizing the fear of loss. This is because the fear of loss is 2.5 times greater than the desire for gain. Therefore, the writer will be 2.5 times more persuasive if the cost is pitched in a way that promotes the reader to take it, lest they lose the deal he or she is getting. Finally, it is very important for the writer to consider his or her company's capacity or the ability to fulfill all the expectations contained in the proposal. This is crucial in proving to the reader that the writer is credible, dependable, and different than the other alternatives in the market. While constructing each section of the proposal, both the reader and the writer need to maintain a specific perspective in writing or reading the proposal. We will begin with the reader's perspective. The reader should ask the following questions as he or she is reading the proposal. What is this communication about? Why is this proposed project needed? What will be gained that is important to the company if the board chooses to invest in it? What features will a solution to the problem need in order to be successful? What will the proposed solution look like? Will the deliverance of this solution be in accordance to what is being described here? What will it cost? From the writer's perspective, this is a general outline of how the proposal should look. Briefly, I propose to do the following. This proposed project addresses a problem, need, or goal that is important to you. A successful solution can be achieved if it has these features. Here's what I plan to produce, and it has the features necessary for success. I am able to deliver on what I promise because I have a good plan of action or method, the necessary facilities, equipment, and other resources, a workable schedule, appropriate qualifications, and a sound management plan. The cost is reasonable, and this is a basic recipe in order for the writer to make a compelling pitch. There are a few other things to reflect upon when physically writing the proposal. First, it is important to have defined proposal goals. This document is being created solely for the reader. Remember that the reader is a potential investor and should be treated as such. Next, the proposed project should have goals because it is a personal motivator to win the reader's business. The personal importance of this project should be crystal clear. This endeavor will require exceptional creativity to secure the proposal acceptance due to the modern competitive business landscape. However, before taking any action, research must be conducted in order to demonstrate a full understanding of the reader's goals. This will also enable the writer to be detailed in the outcomes of the project. More importantly, research can empower the writer with knowledge of competitors, allowing the writer to differentiate. The aforementioned proposal format is not a universal superstructure. Sometimes condensing or even reordering it can make it more persuasive and powerful, depending on the circumstances. When drafting and revising a proposal, it is of utmost importance to ensure that every problem is attached to a solution. Be sure to provide adequate, credible evidence to support any written claims in the proposal. It is a good idea to also be proactive in identifying and addressing potential and any foreseeable objections from the reader. That's all for this presentation. Make sure before you move on to the buying and selling lifecycle presentation that you check out the accounting and the business law lectures. Thank you.